I love Carlan, man.
Yeah, he's a
You
good
ask him
guy.
like 3 questions and he does all the work.
Yeah, exactly. All right, we're gonna start.
Welcome, everyone. You're listening to and perhaps watching Hot Sauce Sports. I'm your host, Pete Zelariz. I am joined virtually by my co-host, Terry Tam. Terry's joining us virtually, but I am not virtual. I am a real boy.
I wish I was in the studio, man, because it's like I'm getting kind of bored of this, you know? Like, I'm still going to decorate, like, my fantastic wall over here. But you don't believe me. You shouldn't believe me.
No.
And if you believe me, I would lose respect for you.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah. So I'm still going to decorate, but I wish I was in the studio. I really do.
Honestly, I will say, Terry, being here today, it feels nice. Like, without getting too, we've talked about nonstop about lockdowns and pandemic, and I don't want to do that today. But it's so cool just to spread out, have my workstation, be on a real microphone, see Eagle's face when he's mad at me. This is amazing. However, Eagle's anger is the second angriest that I have to deal with today. We are insanely busy, as it turns out, and we keep planning stuff and booking stuff on top of other stuff. And I don't think these two things are the same. I think that forgetting what date a day of the week is different from forgetting your anniversary.
I agree 100%.
I know you do. I also blame Eagle because Eagle didn't put it on my calendar.
Did you forget the date today?
We have an amazing interview coming up. We're going to be talking to Carlan Gay. Carlan, if joins us from NBA.com, we're going to talk about some stuff relating to the finals, but also some NBA topics we haven't had a chance to get into with him before. And I booked Carlan because we love having him on. He's one of our best show friends, right? And I booked him for Tuesday. And I said we're going to record
for Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Just Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Yes. What day is Tuesday?
Tuesday, July 6th. Well, this year it's Tuesday.
And what is July 6th?
July 6th is my anniversary. My 2-year anniversary with my amazing, beautiful wife, who and so like late last night I couldn't sleep. I was like posting photos from our wedding album, like 2 years, whatever. And my wife sees them at 6 o'clock this morning when she wakes up. She wakes me up and she's like, "Oh, you can remember to post shit, but you can't remember when our anniversary is."
But I posted them because I remembered it was the anniversary.
Yeah, but this was after I was already in shit for forgetting anniversary was today. So we're gonna be celebrating tomorrow.
And it doesn't matter when you celebrate it, as long as you celebrate it.
Correct. But yeah, that was what happened. I blame Eagle.
In the meantime, I have actually gone and looked up other items, essentially, that have happened in terms of anniversaries. So last year is a little bit of a miss. There's nothing super exciting that happened other than a lot of the COVID shit.
Yeah.
But like an interesting one is Patrick Mahomes got the largest contract ever at that point in time on July 6th. What else was there? Kim and Kanye, there was a whole bipolar disorder tweet that happened in July last year.
Yes, that's true.
Nothing like super exciting, let's say. So I went with our 1-year anniversary of Alex the intern working with us. It's somewhere in that range. Somewhere. Yeah. It's also 1 year of narrowly avoiding getting fired every single day. So congratulations, Alex.
Yeah.
Very good.
It's true. Alex is very close. Is close to being fired probably on a weekly basis.
It's a 3-hour time difference that saves his job. Because I get so mad, and then by the time he wakes up, it's like it's fine.
Well, to his credit, he's always awake at like 11 a.m. our time. So he's always awake at 8 to post stuff. So
yeah,
I got nothing against the guy.
But like the 3 and 4 o'clock hours where I'm still awake and working,
and I'm angry.
2 years, Peas. That's yours.
Yeah.
You get the 2-year anniversary, so congrats on that.
Thaned you. It's appreciated.
At the 5-year mark, We have Pokemon Go that launched July 2016 to millions of players, crashed their servers, caused accidents galore, and people crossing the street and the whole stuff. So that's still going on.
i.e. Eagle.
Yeah, that's the one. Did you see the Stampede when it came out in Central Park? There's a Vaporeon, and there were literally thousands of people running across the street, like boulevards, to try and get there to catch this fucking Pokemon.
That's unbelievable.
Meanwhile, my wife, at the time we were just dating, she downloaded the Pokemon Go app, and she's like, "Yeah, it's gonna be cool. It's an app. It's a game. It gets me to walk around." And then she grabs her phone, looks at it, and like, "Ooh," and then puts it down. And I said, "What are you doing?" She's like, "Well, there's one across the street." She's like, I was like, "Well, are you gonna go get it?" And she's like, "Well, no, I'm just gonna delete the app. I don't feel like going across the street." So,
she was a very normal human being at that point.
Yeah. She realized about 30 seconds in, what am I doing?
Like, what do you have to? She's like, I have to literally get out of my house to go play this game. There's no point in playing this game.
What's the point of a video game if you need to leave your house?
And what's the point of a video game if you're exercising? Like, go fuck yourself.
Also, what's it called? The ones with the helmet, VR? No. Listen.
No.
I want to go home, throw myself on the couch, be half passed out, and wake up to seeing myself being slaughtered by a bunch of enemies.
The only virtual reality I want is porn.
Yeah, obviously, it's only for porn. That's why I have mine.
If we go back 10 years, it's the last Harry Potter movie, so Deathly Hallows Part 2 that comes out. So that's 2011, July. If we go back 15 years, 2016, the anniversary of Zinedine Zidane headbutting Marco Materazzi for threatening to bang his sister at the end of the game.
Oh, that's what it was.
Winning that game.
Yeah.
In 20 years ago.
Trophies. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, please.
No, go ahead.
20 years ago, premiere of The Office. The UK version, though.
Jeez, that's even longer.
If we go back 25 years, the Winnipeg Jets get relocated to Arizona to become the Phoenix Coyotes. And then later on, now the Arizona Coyotes. And then Atlanta gets moved to Winnipeg. It's a very menage a trois scenario.
Yeah. Yes.
And if we go back 50 years, July 1971, MLB Commissioner Bowie Kuhn announces that Negro League players elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame are going to be given full membership to the museum. That's 50 years ago to this day.
So look, my point, and look, Eagle, this is the greatest work ever, right? Because I thought I was going to be in hot water all week. This is going to be terrible. But what I've learned is so many important things happened in July. I can't be held accountable for forgetting one small event by comparison.
It's too many especially July. There's way too many things to remember, like you said, Pease. And I can't be responsible for remembering something that happened 2 years ago. I'm sorry. Yeah, no matter how big the event.
Exactly.
Yeah. How can you
stop living in the past?
Yeah, like why are you living in the past? I'm all about the now. And my headphones just got disconnected. I'm all about the now.
We are absolutely about the now, and that's a perfect segue because it is time for the news. Terry's the news.
Is it though?
It is, absolutely.
All right.
The first thing I wanted to bring up, it's something that happened. I don't know how. Well, first of all, let's go. We're gonna be talking the NBA. The Suns versus Bucks. I call this the Hot Sauce Sports Final for two reasons. One, Terry, you're an adopted Giannis fan because you guys share a lineage, as we discussed. Several generations back, there's a ancestor in common that gave him all of the height. And so like
the thing is we have zero ancestors in common.
But of course, because he's Greek, your family originally from Greece, obviously that's why you have that kinship. Yes. I've been pro Suns when I saw it from the bubble. I was like, oh, this team took a giant step during the lockdown. And then I remember Chris Paul signing there, and I said, well, that's a great signing. And of course, was questioned by members of our team. And I said, no, I'm telling you, they're a piece away. I don't know if Chris Paul is the piece, but for Chris Paul, this is a very, very good signing, and he's going to help that team, and he did.
I like that. Like, there's all the memes that are coming out now. It's like he didn't sign with the super team. He signed with the young team and helped him get there.
It's a super team, though. It's on the board. It's going to be one, right? Like,
Yeah,
Like, do we think Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton are not amazing players? Or
definitely. But are they Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Kyrie Irving, LeBron James-esque? Devon Booker, maybe. Ayton will probably be a very good secondary player.
yeah, which is fine but that's the thing is they
Right.
added a superstar too. To me, like Devin Booker already reminded me a lot of Dwayne Wade with slightly better range. Just the style play. You know, a guy who can come off a pick and roll and hit a shot from the top of the key whenever he wants it. Whenever he wants it, that shot's there for him.
The only thing with the Suns, and I worry, is that like in any NBA team, any NBA successful team, is that eventually they're all going to get paid too much, and eventually they're all going to want to go be the number one guy on the team. So a guy like Devin Booker is going to be the number one guy for a long time. Chris Paul will eventually retire. And Ayton will probably be like, you know what, I'm going to get a max in Portland, and I'm going to go play over there, example.
Well,
and that's the part about the NBA that bothers me.
The money's going up. So the over the next, I think, 5 years, the TV money is going to be triple the amount that they're making now. And as per the rules, you can already have 3 max slots per team. So if Devin Booker gets the super max, you can probably pay Ayton max and somebody else max, and you still have a monster team. You know what I mean? So I think they're in a good spot. They're a low key, well-run organization. It's just that they don't have the championships to back it, but they're a team people have liked playing for in the past. They're a team players have stuck around in the past, and they're a team that's always looked to get better. They're never a team that's been satisfied with being at the bottom, and we've seen that. We saw during the Stoudemire years, they had like a little peak, you know, with Nash early on, going out to get Shaq and revitalizing his career. So they're always doing things to make the team better. And so I'm happy to see the Suns back in the finals after almost 30 years.
Man, I'm pumped, and you know it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, Giannis is injured, but yeah, it's going to be fun to watch the Bucks and the Suns. It's not just the same teams over and over again. And we've actually been, I've always ripped on the NBA how there's no parity and all that stuff, but we've actually seen a lot of different teams in the last 3 or 4 years in the NBA Finals, like watching the Heat versus the Lakers, watching the Raptors versus the Warriors. Like we've seen different teams get in there, and now I love the fact that it's 2 teams that we kind of like. Well, I mean, the Bucks, we could have said that they were going to make the finals, but they're not the Nets. They're not the Sixers. They're not the Lakers. They're not the Clippers. They're not like the premier team with the highest paid players, which I like.
Like if the Nets, I think if the Nets were healthy, they were going to be the clear. Like I don't think they could have been stopped if all 3
I agree.
were healthy. But I will say, like to you and I, Terry, I agree. Like to avid sports fans, you know, this is super interesting, but the TV ratings will show that people like dynasties, people like big names, and they're going to come out with it. See, nobody watches the NBA. It's just because the big names aren't there. You're not catching the casual fans. That's what happens because hockey's probably the best parody, right? But they have the lowest ratings partly for that reason.
Well, they have the lowest ratings, not necessarily because of the parity. It's just because it's just an expensive sport to play, and when it's too an expensive sport, you don't get as much. Like it takes longer to develop a fan base. Like now, the NHL is reaching. They're signing TikTokers to relate to NHL to relate to the young crowds and stuff. And they're trying, and you know, kudos to them, pat on the back, all that shit. But you know, it kind of takes away from the game. But my point is that in the NBA, we look at like who's in the final now, and like let's say we didn't expect them to be in the final, but realistically is that if those guys don't go down, we would have had the same teams in the final every year, like you said. So I like what it is now, and I like there's opportunistic, but the only that these teams are opportunistic and they're going to take advantage, and Devin Booker's going to become a worldwide star. You know what's a little sad to me is that even in Greece, they're probably not going to watch the finals. That's as big as a star Yanni is, he's not going to. I don't think he's bringing 100,000 people to watch the NBA Finals in Greece.
I mean, but like in Europe, we see the numbers are improving, so we'll see if it has that impact specifically in Greece. But for now, you know, the faces of the NBA Finals are changing in terms of the players, but we're seeing a new face on the sideline as Rachel Nichols has been removed from the NBA Finals. It's somewhat of a complicated story. Maria Taylor has been sort of pegged as the next one up, and
she's great, by the way.
She is great, and the thing is,
super tall.
She really is. Actually, I didn't know that until I was doing some research and saw actual pictures of her next to like men who I know to be tall.
I think she's like 6'8" or something.
Yeah, she's up there. She's up there. But so we're gonna listen to Rachel Nichols' story, Rachel Nichols' voice, and we're gonna react to that in a second. But one thing I will say on the front end is a lot of this has become about Rachel Nichols versus Maria Taylor, and I don't think that's what this is at all. But let's start with Rachel Nichols and what she had to say about the situation surrounding Maria Taylor and the NBA. And
hey, instead of hosting the NBA Finals, like, why don't you do Doris's sideline reporter job for the NBA Finals? Because guess what that would clear the way for? For Maria to do the hosting for us. Yeah. So, I have declined. I don't know what their next move is, but they are feeling pressure because of all of that, and I'm trying to figure out like how to just, my thing is like I wish Maria Taylor all the success in the world. She covers football, she covers basketball. If you need to give her more things to do because you're feeling pressure about your like crappy long-time record on diversity, which by the way I myself know personally from the female side of it, go for it. Just find it somewhere else. Like you're not going to find it with me and taking my thing away.
Just a disgruntled employee, I guess. But the thing is that it's not as if Maria Taylor isn't worthy of the position. Rachel Nichols has been there for as long as I've been watching football. I mean, she's great at it. She does the job really well. She's fantastic. And Maria Taylor is just the new blood. And I don't think that, even if it does have something to do with more diversity, which, we've seen across the board, we've seen it in commercials, we've seen it
and it's also
everywhere.
Fine. Because the thing is,
it's okay.
Like the thing is that, they always, I've often heard this, is that whenever we see a new white face, specifically male white face in sports media, we never say, or it's very rarely said. I keep saying we. I know I'm not referring to us specifically, Terry, but because we know the grind that it takes to get into that industry, but we'll often hear people say, "Oh, but what makes them qualified? Why are they there? Why are they taking this job?" But that never happens for the white male face. It only tends to happen for minorities and for women. For women to work in this industry, they need to be so remarkably good. So this is the case for Rachel Nichols. This is the case for Maria Taylor. And what I heard when I heard that is someone who's at work and sees sort of like, hey, I'm experienced. I should have this. I should have that. And they see someone coming for them. There's an obvious level of insecurity that would affect anybody. Now, what gets tied into this, of course, is the fact that they're two women. What gets tied to this is the fact that one's black, one's white. But here's another thing. Here's one thing that's not being discussed anywhere that I've seen, Terry. Why are we still looking at this where only one woman can work in NBA Finals, and it can only be, why can't we have a more diverse cast in that way? Why if we know these two people are amazing at their jobs, why it's not Highlander? There can be more than one, right?
And it's like I feel like let's talk about hockey. I mean, if you're looking at the Sportsnet broadcast, there's Ron McLean, Dumbo, can't stand him, fuck him.
I agree with that one.
Yeah,
I know. Look, I hate to talk badly about media members because it's tough work, like we said. But yeah, he sucks.
What a loser. Anyway. And then you have Cassie Campbell down the middle, and you have Kevin Bieksa. Kevin Bieksa,
he's fantastic, by the way. He's the best thing they ever did.
Unbelievable how good he is. You know what I love about Kevin Bieksa? Before I get to Cassie Campbell, is that he rips on when he's showing a highlight of somebody, he'll rip on the guy who made a mistake. Like he'll be like, "Yeah, this guy doesn't know what the hell he's doing over here, or whatever." Like he'll do that. Like he's that type of guy. He's a pure hockey guy, which I love. And Cassie Campbell's
my favorite was I think game 1 or 2 when he's doing the Habs coverage and they flew him down there and he got such a fucking sunburn and they're just ripping on him, right? Like, you look terrible. He's like, guys, I'm not even gonna try and have a good comeback here. I look like a lobster. Like he just straight up owned it, Like, yep, fucked up.
I forgot the joke that he made about. I forgot the joke that he made about Elliot yesterday, but Elliot Freeman, but it was classic. There's another great journalist. Unbelievable insider, but I just can't stand his face. Anyway, oh my god. And Cassie Campbell, she's great and she does the job really well. But like, it's not like if I criticize her, it shouldn't be. I'm not criticizing her because she's a woman. Obviously, there's something she says that I'm going to disagree with. But there's something if they put freaking Corey Perry on there and I disagree with him, I'm going to rip on him. I don't like Ron McLean. It shouldn't be if I'm hating on somebody. If I don't like what the person says, that I'm automatically hating on them because they're a minority in that field. it should be because I just don't think they're doing the job properly the way I'd like them for them to do it. Now, when it comes to Maria Taylor, is that she hasn't really done anything wrong at this point. She's deserving of these opportunities. There's like, and Rachel Nichols is just like, it's like she's Cap Rooney and this is Willie Beeman, honestly.
Nice.
But that's
Nice.
realistically, like Rachel Nichols isn't bad. She's great at her job. Cap Rooney was a great quarterback. Willie Beeman was the new guy that came in, kind of coming out of left field on fast forward, and that's what Maria Taylor is too. She's everywhere, Maria Taylor. And to Rachel Nichols' point is that they're giving her basketball, football, everything because she's fucking good at her job. And are they pushing a little more of a diversity? Absolutely, because when it comes to a point where in 2021, when you don't see color in a sport where there's a lot of color, then it gets to a point where you're like, okay, what's going on here?
Yeah, so a couple of things. One is that, like, I think, the haters of ESPN will often look to situations like this and think there's like a great big plan, when in reality, what I see at ESPN is a bunch of executives constantly panicking and not knowing how to handle situations. And I'll give you an example in this situation about how this, to me, is about poor management from the media giant. Like, they knew about this, by the way, for over a year. And then 3 days ago, it gets leaked to the New York Post, a substandard print journal, right? Like, New York Post have a bad reputation, and within reason, they tend to
it's
go
a tabloid.
It's a glorified tabloid, right? And they basically put out an article saying that Maria Taylor is looking for more money than Stephen A. Smith, without, of course, getting any quotes from Maria Taylor. So that's information, by the way, the contract talks can only be leaked by ESPN. And so, like, so they knew this story is coming out from the New York Post. They've had a year to solve this, and the only thing they can do is throw their own employee under the bus for trying to make them look greedy. This whole situation to me smacks of just horrible management. And I'm not someone who hates on ESPN. I'm someone who respects the brand, who thinks they've done great things. But man, it's hard to defend this. It's hard.
I hate on ESPN for a long time. Well, you hate on ESPN because they leak the information.
Yeah, because I think there's a more professional way to handle this information, and you had a year to resolve this.
So I have a question for you guys, though. If you had a choice to take away all of the TV rights and all the coverage that ESPN has and transfer it to another network, you would do it in a heartbeat. Right? Like, you would prefer for ESPN to not exist, but keep all the people working in the industry on other stations.
I don't hate ESPN. I hate that it's become a cartel. I liked it better when there was actual competition for talent and actual competition for rights. But ESPN's just become a giant, right? And it is that's never going to change.
I disagree with ESPN for a lot of things, and we actually saw it this weekend. This week they announced like Ariel Helwani left, right? Ariel Helwani is going to BT Sport. He's doing his own thing, his own YouTube channel back. Good for Ariel Helwani because he legitimized ESPN in the MMA community, and now this is the dumbest thing. This is the dumbest thing that ESPN, the UFC have done collectively. Okay, collectively, the dumbest thing they have done is they're putting Stephen A. Smith on the fucking the panel, not the panel, like the in-fight call booth with Joe Rogan, John Anik, and Daniel Cormier during the fights. Stephen A. Smith is going to be there. I'm going to have to listen to Stephen A. Smith when I'm watching Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier this weekend. Can I fucking shoot myself in the face right now? It's bad enough I have to hear Joe Rogan not be up to date with grappling moves. It's bad enough to have to hear Daniel Cormier just making jokes about fried chicken. It's bad enough I don't want to hear Stephen A. Smith yelling at the top of his fucking lungs, not knowing what the fuck he's talking about. And that's the problem with ESPN. That's the problem. They force their guys down our throats.
Well, the thing is with Stephen A., I've always said, like, I actually feel bad for him because the guy is overworked. They put him on everything. And I understand, like, he's your highest paid employee, so you want him to earn it.
They're trying to get their dollar back.
But man, like, you're not putting him in a position to succeed. Like, there's nobody who can cover everything, right? Like, I don't care how big your research team is. And again, this is the same entity that wanted Charles Barkley to do Monday Night Football. So, you know what I mean? Like, the thing is that I understand you want to pay these people a lot of money. You're paying them a lot of money. But, in one breath, you can't do this in one breath. Cut, what was it? Cut Kenny Mayne, try to cut Kenny Mayne's salary 61%, right?
That was the number?
That was it. They're trying to, but again, like, I know that the world has changed and streaming and all that, but like, he's not going to accept that contract, right? And then at the same time, then you're taking Stephen A. Smith and putting him everywhere instead of just hiring the people and using the talent appropriately. You know what I mean? So
the only person that should 100% take a pay cut in anything is Alex the intern. If I tell him, listen, Alex, you're only getting paid $50 this week, then he just has to say,
just take that one.
Wait, I didn't agree to pay this guy.
Exactly.
The other thing that I found interesting about the situation, Terry, and we'll move on right after this, is I think, and especially in a media atmosphere, privacy in the workplace is important. This was a conversation that was had off air, right? And I'm not defending what she said per se, because obviously, and the way she framed it was the worst possible way, even though I don't think she meant it in the way it's being weaponized. I think that it's just in a moment of insecurity. And she even says, she's talking about ESPN's poor track record on diversity, and she was referring to it from her perspective as a woman. She wasn't referring to it from a perspective of race. But of course, it's gotten weaponized by both sides of the argument. But to me, the fact, you and I have conversations off air before the show starts, and so with Eagle, and like, you know, you wouldn't take kindly if Eagle posted something you said, even if it was
or
harmless.
Like screenshots from our chat groups and everything.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and you know, we're not saying anything defamatory, but without the context, without knowing the full situation, anything could be misconstrued. And I think that was really poor form, again, by a company as successful and as big as ESPN. To me, it's nonsense. I don't even understand how it gets this. So Terry, I had an article that came out this week on hotsaucesports.ca. For those who haven't checked it out, I highly recommend it because I'm fairly talented. The thing is, I wrote.
You are an excellent writer. The once a month that you write, you're great.
Hey, I've been good. I've been hammering it at least 2 a week, and I'm gonna have more coming after my anniversary because I can't work tomorrow. So I wrote about the Trevor Bauer assault allegations, and I actually have information about this, and it's talked about in the article, but we'll go over it quickly on the show for those who consume our content via the podcast. So I actually did some reporting on this and got information from a source inside of baseball who has asked for me not to use their name, so I won't. But it's information that's related to how the MLB sees the allegations. And so when Trevor Bauer came out with the screenshots that showed how, you know, the sexual assault allegations or the assault allegations may have been something that was consensual because of, you know, things that were previously agreed upon in the DM conversation. The woman has since come out, filed a restraining order. I read I think it's some 80 pages. I read the bulk of it. So I read there was an addendum to it. So I read the first 67 pages. That was the initial one. And I read what was in it, why it was claimed that why it was that she filed the report. And one of the things that was brought to my attention by the insider at MLB was that they still see this, regardless of what the text says, this is still seen as something as non-consensual because consent needs to be agreed upon in the moment, not in advance, right? Because everyone has the right to not consent at the moment. And one of the things specifically that bothered MLB was the part in the document where she talked about waking up to find herself being penetrated anally, something that she had not consented to, and he was essentially having sex with her while she was unconscious. That's the part of this that, because you cannot consent. I'm saying this, of course, as Bill Cosby gets released from prison, but you cannot consent while you're unconscious, right? Like, that's 101 in this situation. We've liked Trevor Bauer as a personality. We've obviously loved the talent of Trevor Bauer, but dude, I'm telling you, reading the documents and going through this with the person I was speaking to, it feels really icky. It feels kind of rough.
It's not a good look at all the MLB. I guess they're handling this well. You know what I mean? For the most part, as long as they do their investigations and if they don't swipe it under the rug. Like, do you guys know the Chicago Blackhawks story? Did we speak about this?
Which one?
So about
assault allegations against the former coach.
We actually haven't talked about it on the show.
Okay, so
it's a good tie-in, though. Feel free.
Yeah, exactly. So the NHL, and this is another reason why Ron McLean's a fucking loser. Okay, is that so the NHL? What the NHL is not really at fault here because they had no idea, allegedly. Yeah. But Chicago Blackhawks, they had a scout, a video guy, a coach that would offer blowjobs or whatever the case may be. He would sexually assault players and to ask them for blowjobs or whatever it was.
Louis C.K. on them sometimes too.
Yeah, exactly. And the team knew about this. They let him go. He applied to be doing the same job as a coach or whatever it is at high schools. And the Chicago Blackhawks wrote a letter of recommendation to those schools on this guy's behalf, knowing how he was. And then what happened? This guy did the same thing to some of these kids in high school. And now Chicago Blackhawks are in like this lawsuit. And then Ron McLean gets Commissioner Gary Bettman on the panel last night for the game, and he doesn't ask him any of those questions. So now, when I look at the MLB's coming. They're at the forefront here. We can say anything we want about Manfred, but he's actually, he's doing a decent job at this, is making sure that it's out there, and we're doing all our due diligence and all that shit. You have to protect yourself in these situations, and the NHL has done none of that. And that's where the NHL's fault is at fault, and they're complicit to a certain extent if they don't come out and penalize the Chicago Blackhawks for anything. Now, when it comes to the MLB is doing the right thing, and they're doing I can't say anything about them, but they really have to penalize whoever knew about this that was within the organization. They have to.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And what I've heard also is essentially this part, the insider wasn't very clear because they don't know the exact machinations within the contract, but they're pretty sure that if charges get pressed by the district attorney, there is a chance that they can void his salary, and B, they're pretty sure that Bauer has played his last game for the Dodgers and may have played his last game in Major League Baseball. Like
that's crazy.
The level of this, because of the details in that restraining order. Major League Baseball is very uncomfortable with the situation they've been put in by Trevor Bauer.
You know what else is crazy? That we have insiders now.
I know, right? It's so weird.
And legit ones on top of that.
Like, yeah, and one we're
not just Mo Khan anymore. Mo Khan was our insider before.
And one we're going to talk to today is actually someone who works within the NBA. When we talk to Carlan Gay. But before we get to that, I did want to touch on something really quickly. There was a death. Backup goaltender Matiss Kivlenieks. He of the Columbus Blue Jackets. He passes away on I believe it was the 4th of July. Which passed yesterday, and here's someone who can better pronounce his name, discussing the situation before we get to it.
Now to the fireworks accident that killed a professional hockey player. This morning, the Columbus Blue Jackets goaltender being remembered by his teammates, the league, and fans.
Overnight, the NHL starting Game 4 of the Stanley Cup with a moment of silence for goalie Matiss Kivlenieks.
We extend our deepest sympathies to his family, friends, and teammates.
NHL goalie Matiss Kivlenieks killed by fireworks, according to authorities, after a 4th of July celebration turned deadly.
He made some highlight reel saves on some star players.
Kivlenieks, a goaltender for the Columbus Blue Jackets who made his debut in 2020. Police say the 24-year-old was at a private gathering Sunday night when a mortar-style firework tilted downward and shot towards a group of people in a hot tub.
There was some type of a fireworks malfunction which caused 2 mortars to be shot in his general direction.
Authorities say Kivlenieks tried to clear away from the area but was struck by the firework in the chest and later died. A native of Latvia, Kivlenieks signed with the Columbus Blue Jackets as a free agent in 2017.
Kivlenieks, his first National Hockey League victory.
The goaltender seen here thanking his teammates.
Honestly, couldn't done this without you guys, so thank you.
His former Blue Jackets teammate and captain Nick Foligno remembering the goalie as a great person.
That smile is the first thing I thought of. It just every day, I'm just so happy to be in the NHL, living out his dream.
And according to multiple reports, the accident happened while Kivlenieks was at the home of a Blue Jackets coach.
Fuck.
Yeah, it's rough. It's hard to see, hard to hear about. Obviously, our hearts go out to him, his family, and players that knew him. It's always tragic when these things happen, and definitely when it happens in this kind of situation. I know myself, Terry. I've been to parties where like friends have fireworks and stuff, and like never wanting to admit that they low key kind of terrify me. I always make an excuse like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get some drinks. Who wants beers?" You know, like I always make an excuse to sort of like be more in the background because this terrifies me. Remember the situation when Jason Pierre-Paul a couple of years ago, and we just see these incidents happen too often. And look, most times there's never an incident. It just really sucks that this happened, and this happened to someone.
And Gianni Satino, who we had on probably a couple months ago, that works for Hot Streak, our sponsor, he put on Twitter, he's like, I never understood fireworks. It's the lowest, highest risk with the least reward. And he's right.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's fun to see a firework. It's great, but how quickly do you forget about it? And you're having fun while you're doing it, but there's so much danger when it comes to it. I remember seeing a video of a guy holding a firework in his hand, and it went off, and it blew his entire hand off. And you see like the ligaments coming off. It was disgusting. And it just, I'm not a fireworks guy. Like I've lit in fireworks before when I was younger, and I'm not a fireworks guy. Like it's not something that I like. And I hear too many horror stories like Jason Pierre-Paul, and now with Kivlenieks. So, I mean, wishing all the best for his family.
It's the inner pyromaniac in you that enjoys it. Like, like you ever have those like little candles that they light on like the tables for dinners and everything, especially as a kid, you like dip your hand in it and the wax would kind of like melt over your finger and you would kind of melt it.
A little bit, yeah.
Light a match, have it burn, try and like chain a match into another one, the whole thing. Like, this is fun. It's that, but for grown-ups that still don't understand the danger of playing with fire. Literally.
But listen, if you want to get it out, just light a cigar, light a joint, playing with fire, and that's as close as you need to get, really. Like I'm not going to tell people how to enjoy their time or not enjoy their time. I'm inclined to agree with you though, Terry. Like I never seen really the appeal. And again, freely admit I'm freaked out about it. I'm freaked out by fireworks. Just heard about too many incidents. And this is again, yet one more case of them. We're going to get to Carlan Gay in a second of NBA.com. But Terry, before we get to him, tell us who's responsible for bringing him along in terms of who is sponsoring this show.
So Carlan Gay is a basketball guy, and we have ourselves a basketball sponsor, and that basketball sponsor tells us that we can make millions in minutes. Mm-hmm. So all you got to do is go to Hot Streak Fantasy, use the there you go. And so use Hot Streak Fantasy and use the promo code Hot Sauce, and they'll match your initial deposit with a bonus with the same amount. You put $50 in, you'll get $50. And honestly, it's the best app. They're moving into the MLB now, which is great. I spoke to Gianni today. He said within the next couple of weeks, it's going to be available in Canada.
Very exciting.
Which is perfect because we probably have another 2 weeks of basketball to enjoy the app. Go out there, use Hot Sauce promo code. Please use that. Show your support for us, and they'll match your initial deposit with a bonus. It's unbelievable. I love it. Every time I get the notification, games have started.
I know it's so exciting.
I'm getting a couple bets in right away.
It also reminds me that the games are about to start, and I'm not going to come in a quarter late like I usually do.
Exactly.
And so I love it. And Terry, hopefully, like now that restrictions have eased, you and I can actually catch a game together and be able to bet on these games together because it's really fun. So happy to have Hot Streak on board.
Do you know when they get into MLB if I can place a bet every 3 minutes if Trevor Bauer is going to be playing?
No,
we don't think he'll be playing.
I highly doubt
that's the point.
So if he's on the app, just hit the under.
Play the odds.
Hit the under every time.
Even if Trevor Bauer is gonna throw another pitch in the MLB, it will definitely not be this season. Yeah, definitely.
I agreed. So we'll get to Carlan, and we're back and recording in order. I am Piz Del Ruiz, as you heard at the top of the show, and joining me, of course, is Terry, who is also there at the top of the show. But joining us now is Carlan Gay. Carlan, he works with the NBA.com. as well as he's a play-by-play commentator for FIBA and a voice on NBA Sound System. How's it going, Carlan?
Can't complain, guys. I appreciate you guys having me on once again. I hope that you guys can hear me loud and clear because my voice is still kind of shaky from a solid week and a half of good basketball that I was blessed enough to be able to call.
That's the thing with having a voice as good as yours, Carlan. Like, even if it's like, it's 70%, it's still better than mine or Terry's. So it's still good. It's all good. I want to ask, actually, now that we have you on, we tend to bring you on during basketball season, obviously, or in basketball playoffs, because obviously that's your strength. And I want to get to some specific issues as well. It's, that's more topical, but specifically relating to the NBA Finals. We see Giannis sort of limping into the finals. We see the injuries to Devin Booker, Chris Paul. We talked about in previous shows whether or not sort of that last COVID incident was affecting any of his cardio. A lot of talk's been made about guys missing during these NBA Finals. How much do you think the scheduling has had to play with regards to now what we have with the Bucks versus Suns final?
I think it has a lot to do with it. But, the alternative would have been that we would never get back on track, to the regular NBA calendar. So there wasn't much that could have been done differently. When you think about, obviously this has affected the players and ultimately the fan experience. The fan experience meaning, their top players like, Kyrie Irving, actually outside of him, maybe James Harden, with the injury that he suffered, that's probably more load management related. The Kawhi injury is kind of a freak accident. So I don't know if you can really blame that on, the amount of games that he played. Same with the Kyrie injury. That could happen in a regular year where he just lands on someone's foot and, rolls his ankle. I think everybody that's ever played basketball, even in a picket game, has had that injury happen to them. You step on someone's foot, you roll their ankle. So I think those are freak accidents. The COVID stuff, we still really don't know how it affected different guys at different times. There have been a ton of players very open about how that has happened and how that's affected them. Jason Tatum being one of them that comes off the top of my head. I'm sure Chris Paul has had some effect, because when he came back off of that injury, he just didn't look the same, especially, in that first game back against the Clippers. So who knows what the long-term effects is of this virus and the guys that have had to deal with it. But I think when you look at, the other option, the ultimate option would have been to push the season to start back even further. I don't think you would have been able to do that. You had to play at least 72 games. I think that was a sweet spot to be able to, for everybody to get their paycheck at the end of the day. I think, the players probably are happy that they're getting paid and not another reduced salary or potential reduced salary in the second back-to-back year. So the players can complain, but if they wanted their full pay, this was the option to go with. And, unfortunately, we saw injuries. And honestly, when you go back years and years and years, injuries always play a factor in the playoffs. They just do. You can look at the years the Raptors won, Kevin Durant and, Klay Thompson go down in that series. You can even look at years before that. Chris Paul gets hurt, in a game 5 that the Houston Rockets win. And then they lose 2 games in a row without him in the lineup and losing a best of 7 to the Golden State Warriors. So the injuries always happen every single year. And unfortunately, it happens to key guys. And it really does change the course of the NBA history. So, we just hope that now that we have these 2 teams in the finals, the Bucks and the Suns, 2 teams that honestly, I think many people should have probably had, at least penciled in to be in the finals anyway. And, here we go. We hope that no one else gets hurt and no one else contracts the virus.
So, playoffs, we're talking about playoffs injuries. In any sport, there's always something that happens, right? You talk about football and hockey, just like we could talk about hockey too, the playoffs that are happening right now. Some of the Tampa Bay Lightning are banged up too. It happens. It's part of the game. It's a long season. It's part of the game. My thing is that I was so hoping to see a Hawks and Suns final, even though I had, like you said, Carlan, I had penciled in Bucks to the finals at the beginning of the season. I was like, you know what? And then when they got James Harden, I was like, okay, maybe not. And then as you saw, the Nets didn't really kind of gel. I'm like, Bucks are going to be in there. I really felt that they were going to do it. But I really wanted to see the young guys go at it. I really wanted to see Booker versus Young. I think that would have been like probably the most televised final we could see in a long time. That doesn't include LeBron James, obviously.
Yeah, and I think the minute LeBron James gets knocked out of the playoffs, you kind of lose a little bit of the casual audience because win or lose, casual audience wants to see LeBron James. Kevin Durant's probably that second tier guy. Kyrie Irving is a guy that obviously has a lot of interest. So I think the Nets would have probably been that second team outside of the Lakers. Once you lose them, it's really now up to to entertain the basketball junkies, the people that are going to tune into the NBA Finals no matter what. I would have loved to see the Atlanta Hawks get there. However, I do think that it is a little bit premature for them to take that step at this time. They're going to be there, at some point. I think what they did this summer or this playoff run, it really kind of showed that the Hawks had a plan in place, because when they drafted Trae Young, or when they drafted Luka Doncic and traded for Trae Young on that draft day deal, it really was one of those moments where you say to yourself, "What are you doing? You're trading away a future Hall of Famer if you're the Atlanta Hawks." But now, after seeing Trae Young play, his first playoff run on the big stage, play the way he did. He beat the Knicks, and I think he should give him credit for that, because the Knicks were a really good team this year. They finished fourth in the Eastern Conference. They were really good defensively, and Trae and the Hawks made quick work of them. But beating the Sixers really solidified it for a lot of people, not just the Hawks, on this run, but I think Trae Young as an all-star, as a star in this league, because that's two defensive teams that he beat in terms of New York and Philadelphia, that have really good guards that are able to defend, two coaches that could figure you out defensively. Ben Simmons is a perennial, defensive player of the year candidate. You have Joel Embiid on the back line, and Matiss is another guy who's probably going to make all NBA or all defensive team, a couple more times in his career. So for Trae Young to eliminate both those teams, to show you that, he's not just a one-trick pony offensively, and he's tough to guard, tough to go against, I think he opened a lot of people's eyes and really made that debate about the trade for Luka a real live one. Now, Luka's still going to make the Hall of Fame. Luka's still going to be a Hall of Famer in my eyes. Luka's a terrific player, and now the pressure's on Dallas Mavericks to try and build a team around Luka the same way the Hawks did. I don't think the Hawks are going anywhere, guys. The Eastern Conference for years have been, the Leastern Conference. I don't think it's going to be that for the next 2 or 3 years.
I think it's improving as well, but my question is, how much of the doubt towards Trae Young has to do with his hairline?
You got to ask Knicks fans that. You got to ask Knicks fans that.
But that was my feeling. I was like, no, that guy can't be on the cover of 2K ever.
No way.
But now he will be at some point, because if he keeps playing this way, my God, he's been awesome. Carlan, I wanted to ask this last time, and we kind of ran out of time, and I wanted to get your opinion on it, because it's something that's been talked about at length constantly, and I'm never really satisfied by a lot of the voices who put their names on the discussion. And we know the terrific work that LeBron James has done for his own community, be it the Black community, whether it be, in Ohio and all that. And of course, prior to the pandemic, prior to what we saw last summer, there was a lot of scrutiny with regards to the NBA's involvement in China and LeBron's involvement with Nike in China and so on. So my question is, what are your thoughts regarding, because I've always seen it as, I don't diminish someone else's contributions because they don't contribute to everything, but I do think it does make it more complicated. So what are your thoughts about his role and the role of professional athletes to take on causes of humanity in general, rather than just being specific to a community?
You know what? I, from my perspective, and this is me, Carlan Gage, speaking as a person, I think I like anyone, not just athletes, anyone with a platform, anyone with a large following, whether it be big or small. I could take away the word large. Anyone with a following that has the ability to not only advocate, but educate. I think education is the biggest key for, when athletes are making a stand or taking a stand towards a certain thing, because it's not a matter of having, people sort of just blindly follow you. I think when you offer the opportunity to educate, or at least shine a light on things that may not always get the light shined on, it allows you to, for your following to be able to look into that and then come with their own conclusions, and maybe even figure out a way themselves that they can help or, promote or within their own circles. And I think that's more important to me than an athlete going out there and, shouting out a simple cause just for the heck of it, just because it's a cool thing to do. I would rather see more, not just athletes, but prominent people be able to offer up modes of education. So it's one thing to shout out the cause, but okay, attach now something for someone to read about it, so that they can go in and then, because it's easy to say donate money. Not everybody has the means to donate. It's easy to say volunteer your time. Not everybody can afford to do that either. So how are those other people that are willing to help able to help? And then also on the other side of that, it's how is those who are kind of, I don't want to say on the fence, but for lack of a better term, on the fence about, supporting a cause, how do they then cross the line and become fully supportive if it's something that, they can deem, that it's worth their support? And that goes across the board for anything, really. Not just any social cause. It could be political or whatever the case may be. But I think it all comes down to education, because you're not going to be able to fully fight the fight the way you want it to be fought if everyone isn't as educated as you are on a certain subject, or at least you're providing that education on a certain subject. So that's where I sit on it. And like I said, it's not just for athletes or celebrities. I think it's for anyone with a platform, because you and I was actually just in Victoria, and Team Canada was wearing the orange patch in support of the Indigenous people. Obviously, Canada Day was rough for a lot of people in the country that, look at Canada as, they hear the name Canada, and it's not, it doesn't bring the joy that it does bring others. And, for me, being in that situation, I'm proud Canadian, as you guys know. And, that was my first Canada Day back in the country in probably about 8 years. And I was kind of torn about it, in the way that I should celebrate, in the way that I should, go out there and be proud. And I think you can do both. I think you could be proud, of the country, but also want the country to have, be better. You can't deny the country's history. It is there. It is what it is. But also, I think I needed myself, speaking on my own behalf, I needed to be a little bit more educated on what some of that history was. And I'm glad that was brought up at that time, because it allowed me to pay more attention to some of the things that, we tend to put in the shadows of our country. So, and that's just one example. There's many other examples, I'm sure, where, we can do better as a whole, a group of people, in just educating ourselves. And I think that's where I think athletes, with a large platform, or even celebrities with a large platform, can help a lot of people, is kind of pointing them in the direction where they can find some information, get educated, and encourage them to remain educated. So at least that trickle-down effect helps the next generation, and so on and so forth.
Honestly, you couldn't have said it better, man. Like, it was. The thing is
more
like,
eloquent than we aren't.
Yeah, we would have said, "Listen, man, if you want to support it, support it. But if you don't, then you don't have to." But just make sure you're aware. We would have said something dumb like that.
Can.
Made a dick joke somewhere along the lines. But realistically, is like, the thing about LeBron, like you mentioned LeBron James piece, but the thing about LeBron James is that he's done so much humanitarian work, and it kind of, and then we talk about this, what happens in China and all that stuff, and it kind of takes away from him. We believe that LeBron James is the person that fights for people's rights and things like that. So we want him to do those things, but it's also not his responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility to be informed about anything. If you want to talk about the Israel-Palestine conflict, you want to talk about what happened, the Indigenous community here in Canada, you want to talk about anything, BLM, whatever it is, you have to be informed. You can't just share a tweet and hope that that's going to change everybody's life. You know what I mean? So what you said, it was well said, Carlan, and we appreciate it.
Yeah, no doubt. It's all, it's all about education. There's no one out there, regardless of who you are, you're not doing anybody any favors by going out there and ignorantly saying something without having all the, facts in your disposal, because it's a real way to help, all the causes that we have going on in the world. And by the way, you don't have to just fight for one. We have the bandwidth as human beings. I think hopefully we all have a big enough heart and enough empathy to be able to, deliver enough love to the people that do need it. But again, all it comes down to, for me, is education. You provide people with enough education, I think they'll make the right decisions in the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
being informed is honestly, it's the most important thing. And if you don't know the answer, don't spit out what you heard or the headline that you read that morning. You know what I mean? It goes a long way.
Unfortunately, Carlan, I know you do have to go. We will get you hopefully around the finals or after the finals to do a quick wrap up of the NBA season. But I do want to thank you for your time. But before we go, I know you're going to be doing some work for Team Canada at the Olympics. Do you want to tell the good people what you'll be doing?
Yeah, we'll have. Unfortunately, the men won't be there. The men failed to qualify at the Olympic Games. In a thriller, I was blessed enough to be able to call that game, but Tomasz Satoransky, with the dagger jump shot over Lugan's Dort, broke a lot of hearts, and I couldn't do it on the broadcast, but I could say it here to you guys because I'm very biased, very, very Canadian. That broke my heart too. But I love the Czech Republic. I've been lucky enough to be around that team, the last 4 years right now. So at the World Cup and then again here in Victoria this past weekend. Great guys. I flew home with Thomas Shadaransky, actually. Half of my flight home back to Charlotte was with him. He went to Chicago as well. So we spent a good amount of time talking. Great guy. And I wish them all the best. On the flip side, it's heartbreaking for Canada's men. But I think we need to start putting the spotlight, basketball-wise, as a nation, on the Canadian women. This is a women's team that is, star-studded, plenty of stars on the team. They have, the third Olympics now they've qualified to. The last two, I think it was sort of like a happy to be there kind of vibe. This time, these ladies are going to medal. That's what they want to do. I think if they don't stand on the podium in Tokyo, it would be a failure. That's the type of pressure and the type of talent that I think they have on this team. Lisa Matiss is a terrific coach. Carly Clark is an assistant coach with her as well. I think they'll be able to get this team ready to go. You have Kia Nurse, Natalie Ochanwa. Hopefully she comes back from injury. Letitia Amayer, a youngster on this team. There is enough young and old and enough talent for Canada to be able to pull home a medal. And guys, honestly, if that happened, it would be one of the biggest moments in Canadian basketball history. And I think we would need to pay more attention to it. And we have to pay more attention to it from now because it has a real shot of happening. Don't wait till it happens. Start paying attention.
Get on the bandwagon now.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Thank you, Carlan, for your time. Quick, one-word answer. I know we can talk all night, so one-word answer. Who's winning the finals?
NBA Finals, I'm going to Suns in 6. I'm going Suns in 6 because Giannis is hurt. And by the way, the Habs aren't dead yet. Let's go.
Let's hope not. Thanks, Carlan, for joining. You can follow him, and I highly suggest it. If you want to learn more about sports and about basketball, follow at the Carlan Gay. Thank you, Carlan, for joining.
And we're back. Actually, I don't need to do that anymore. You can literally see when I click the button.
I looked over at you, and you know what? I defaulted back to the audio cues, but the visual cues, but Eagle wasn't on board with me. Man, Carlan's awesome. I love talking to that dude about hoops.
I wish you had more time with Carlan. I wanted to ask about the Sixers. I really wanted to get into Ben Simmons, and it's too bad, man. Because
we'll do a postseason wrap up. I actually had an idea to give ourselves a vacation, maybe like pre-recording like 2 or 3 like long form interviews that will replace the shows before we launch into season 3.
That's
Sauce for Work. So
that's
maybe
a
we'll
really
get Carlan
good
like full 45 minutes and get someone else another 45 minutes. Do that for like 3 weeks. So recharge our batteries, change our graphics and all that. And
because the off season is going to come now. It's going to be no hockey, no basketball, and it's just going to be baseball going. The Euro is going to be ended. Football. I mean, all of August we can probably record a few interviews.
We'll figure out when. We'll keep all of you posted as well.
Yep.
We'll let you guys know what we're doing ahead of time. So if you want to check out those interviews, I think they'll be awesome, and they'll give us a chance sort of to rework the shows as well. But yeah, so that said, we have a lot to get to. It's been a busy week of sports because this is one of the busiest times of sports. Eagle, it's time for rapid fire.
Number 1, Thunderbolts and Lightning. We're recording this after Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals.
Before Game 5.
Has narrowly avoided a sweep by getting a win. But apparently, according to the rumors floating around, this is all because of the Tampa Bay mayor making a statement saying that Tampa should lose on purpose.
Here's what we would like. What we would like is for the Lightning to take it a little bit easy, to give the Canadians just the smallest break, allow them to win one at home, and then bring it back to the Amalie Arena for the final and the winning of the Stanley Cup. But we don't want to get ahead of ourselves, but they are playing some amazing, amazing hockey. Here's what we...
I like it. I actually like this. Like, I was going to be like, fucking bitch, you know what I mean? Like, she's talking shit. But, like, at the end of the day, if Valerie Plante, who I can't stand, if she said, you know what, let's give the Lightning a break one night. We want the parade in Montreal. I would have been like, that's cool. That's like ballsy. It shows balls.
Yeah, you get a couple points back, Mayor Plante.
Yeah, exactly.
When I saw it, so like I heard the quote before I saw it. So then I got the video clip for the show today, and I saw what Mayor Jane Castor looks like, and I was like, she definitely 100% looks like the person in your condo building who makes the condo meeting 3 hours longer than it needs to be. She's the one bringing up all the issues. She's the one like. That's how she got to be mayor, I imagine. She started as condo president and then ended up mayor.
If only she didn't live in Tampa and lived in another area of Florida where a condo board would have been very useful at this time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't get that. I don't get it.
There's a fucking condo that collapsed in Florida, Terry.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was.
Where have you been?
It's terrifying. If
Here.
you haven't seen the footage, it's actually pretty terrifying. Half of the building collapsed in I forget what it's.
Anybody dead?
Yeah.
Like
Hundreds.
a whole bunch of people. There's like 125 people missing, air quotes.
But if you're missing for more than like 24 hours, it's pretty much presumed dead.
No, she reminds me of. I'm trying to figure out which actress she reminds me of with that hair.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
No, it's
Susan
bothering.
Sarandon.
Jane Lynch.
No, a little bit of Jamie Lee Curtis and Jane Lynch in there, but no, there's a specific one that she looks exactly like. I'm trying to figure it out. Anyway, next.
All right, let's go next. Welcome to Earth. July 4th, Independence Day, British Treason Day, whatever you want to call it. It came and gone. You know what that means? A food eating contest. You know what that means? Joey Chestnut wins. You know what that means? He sets a brand new record.
The boy king who has risen to the throne and who will not step down. Look on his works, ye mighty and despair, for he has surpassed the kings of Egypt with 76 Nathan's hot dogs and buns. A new world record.
So, has he won every year since Kobayashi?
He lost 1 year.
To Kobayashi?
No, I don't remember. Either maybe you can find it out as I'm buying you time. He lost 1 year, and I had heard an interview with him somewhere on Twitter. It was like a clip from, I don't know. I don't know who was interviewing, but he was saying how he had come in overweight, because training is really important for them because the breathing and you need to be able to be your normal weight to eat as much, because if you're coming in heavier, maybe that affects how
there's more stress on your heart. You're more oxygen pumps to your heart instead of your lungs, I guess. And you're not able to breathe properly, so you're taking longer to chuff it down. Have you ever been so hungover or stoned where you're eating too fast and you're out of breath? So maybe it has something to do with that.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, I'm having hot dogs tonight. So.
Oh, nice. Enjoy.
The last time he lost was 2015, where he lost to Matt Stoney. He ate 60 at the time, and Stoney ate 62.
Stoney's a great name for a guy who's in the eating contest, right?
Definitely. I wonder how many we can do.
I can't do more than 4. I would die.
Really? I think I could do the way they eat them. I could probably do 12. I think.
The thing is, again, it's hard to believe, but I actually don't eat that much. You wouldn't guess that by looking at me, but I'm telling you, I can't eat that much.
Yeah, and he actually lost to Kobayashi in hamburgers, but not hot dogs.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that was in 2009.
How quickly does he throw up? Because they all throw up after. It's impossible.
Well, so you need to from until the podium, basically, you can't throw up. If you throw up,
I get that, but how is he throwing everything up? What percentage of hot dogs is he getting? And is he getting
I
in
will
there?
say, having seen the clip at the end, there's not another sport where you're done, you look so bloated and gross. He looked ready to just, I'm going to go throw up and fall asleep for 6 days.
He deserves it.
That looked like physical exertion that we've never seen in pro sports.
He deserves it. How do you get into this?
You just eat
a bunch
Terry,
of fucking food.
I think you're the guy. We had to promote one of our guys to try the competition. You'd be the guy.
I wonder which poutine I ate on July 6th in 2010 when I did my challenge.
Hey, we share an anniversary, Terry. You and I. I would never forget that day.
I wonder which one I ate. There's a way to find out, I think.
Yeah.
I'll find it.
We're going to have to change the order of these because, Pease, you put the same link twice. So we're going to do a Castellanos clutch. Months after Nick Castellanos has homered during Tom Brenneman's apology for incident-sensitive comments, Castellanos struck again with this call during a eulogy for a home run.
Well, we're going to tell you about a great man, and it's a loss for the Royals family. This is George Gorman, who passed away at the age of 96. He served our country in World War II. He went to the University of Kansas, and so did his son, Pat Gorman, who's been working for the Royals in the clubhouse for 26 years.
Wow.
And that was Pat's father. But that's a great life. 96 years. And Pat, just like his dad, went to KU. He also went to Bishop Ward High School. There's a drive into deep left center field, and there's never a great time to eulogize someone during the broadcast, so we apologize for the timing, but our hearts go out to Pat, who's just been a tremendous loyal employee to the Royals for 26 years, and his wife Katie, as she lost her father-in-law, and daughters Abby and Caroline, who lost their grandfather, but they had him for 96 years.
Wow. Blessing. Sorry for your loss.
This is so weird.
It's so awkward.
It's
high
like
fives after sorry for your loss.
Well,
is a weird
Nichols Castellanos was 0 for 2 with 2 strikeouts against Mike Minor curveballs his first time up.
So I'm looking
And
at
that slider didn't quite slide enough.
So I'm looking at
and he was ready for
I looked for that group of the Facebook group there with where I was posting all the puts-ins to see when maybe July 6th I posted something. But one message I saw, and this is old people in social media. Okay, my mom on September 13th. I started this in January. Hey Terry, thanks for inviting me in your group. Have you been to the restaurant in Old Montreal? I don't remember the name, but it's across Galliano's. The poutines there are delicious. I really can't believe I'm encouraging you. In 2011, you should try healthy food. Then my ad right below. Dear Terry, please check your arteries after you have done eating all those poutines.
I like that they all start with Dear Terry.
Yeah.
I had to explain to my mom when she started using Facebook that she shouldn't respond to every conspiracy theory on the internet. Like,
the older you get, the more you respond to things on Facebook, I think. I think that's what
So yeah, seeing that, like, I think at this point you need to blame the producers. Like, when you see Nick Castellanos come up, wait a batter, and then start talking about whatever important point you need to make. It's twice. And I saw this on Twitter, Terry. Apparently, I don't know if this is true or not. I didn't independently vet it, but apparently he hit his first home run after America had caught Saddam Hussein. Like, it was while that was being announced, he hit a home run as well. So like, the dude is there a more clutch hitter than the guy who always hits while the broadcaster's trying to say something important?
It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Again, the visual of the high fives at the end, that's the hardest part.
Sorry for your loss. Hey. Fucking idiots.
Right. I think I got the clip. I think we're good for the next one. All
Perfect.
Right. So let's get into the next one here. In his corner, with time elapsing, LeBron James was on site to cheer on his son Bronny during that game. And we get to watch that clip because, of course, it was filmed.
Get off and get a bucket.
Break. Good shot.
Get off and get a bucket.
Not a bad shot.
It reminded me of Kawhi's last shot against Philadelphia to make it to the finals, except like Kawhi made the shot. There's moments like this.
You think Bronny's going to be in the NBA?
I think so. I think the reason LeBron's not retiring is he wants to play with or against the Sun. Like, that's a thing he has.
There's no way LeBron James plays against the Sun. There's no way.
You think he forces the general manager to draft or trade for him?
Or he leaves and goes to wherever Bronny gets drafted.
Yeah, maybe. I can see that. I saw that clip, and we talked about LeBron's complicated legacy with Carlan Gage in the interview. But I will say there are moments like that where I'm just reminded, oh, this is a guy who just loves his son and loves his family, right? Like,
he's a good father. When he misses
the shot, you can see he's disappointed for somebody. He's not upset. He's just sort of like smiling and having a good time, because the important thing is this is time he gets to spend with his family and specifically sharing the love of basketball with his son. So it's a really, really touching moment every time I see it.
Okay, next one. I gotta jump a little bit ahead in this one. Jimmy Buckets. So everyone's it's because you didn't put the clip in. I gotta go find the clip.
There's no clip for the 5.
Yes, there is.
Oh, there is a clip. Okay, sorry. Yeah.
Oh, wait, I got it.
You got it because the last one's our ending topic. It's the funny one.
That's why I was like, I can't switch the order.
You can't switch the order.
Okay,
The show doesn't make sense if you switch the order, Eagle.
He's like Ron Burgundy.
We keep talking about every week that Tom Brady keeps getting
He's
more
an
and
NBA
more
owner.
interesting, essentially, as he gets older, and he did it again with this burn on Aaron Rodgers. This segment is going to be called Busting Rods.
Hey, he's an NBA owner, a self-taught guitarist, and has guest starred in both The Office and Game of Thrones.
He's unhappy with his boss and has no options. Who is Aaron Rodgers?
Ding ding, that is correct. Well done.
It's a projection, Sam. I never said I'm unhappy with my boss.
I said it, not you.
Hey, he's an NBA.
Damn you, Tom.
But why? I don't understand the part of the he's an NBA owner and all that
Because
shit.
he owns part of the Bucks.
Yeah.
Oh, he does.
Yeah.
I didn't even know he was in Game of Thrones.
He was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah, he was an extra during the Red Wedding, I think, right?
I don't know. I just saw he was running on, and I saw it on Twitter. I didn't see even.
I know Brent Burns was in. I know that that singer was in there, the redhead.
The
British,
singer, the redhead.
the British
Ed Sheeran.
redhead singer. Ed Sheeran.
Oh, I was going Avril Lavigne. What? But then you guys had to go make it all complicated.
Why you gotta be so complicated? Skater boy.
The thing, like, so again, I see this and I love this version of Tom Brady, and I hate that I love it because I've spent most of my time as a Dolphins fan hating Tom Brady, and yet he just realized, how did he get to like 40 years of life before he realized, oh, I can just have fun. I can just have a good time all the time.
Do you think it's because he's like I've cemented my legacy, or is it because he's out of the crutch of Bill Belichick's boring lifestyle?
I think he thought that was the way to comport yourself as a superstar, and then now with Bruce Arians is more about sort of player empowerment. And
he's more colorful.
And he himself, right? He sets the example for the team, and he's a guy who's not afraid to say stuff to the press and so on. And he's just realizing, oh well, Bill's way work, but this way can also work, and I love seeing it. I think it's great.
And our last topic, Jimmy's buckets. No bathroom in sight. Stomach starts to grumble. Maybe you're a little homeless, and you do this.
This guy's doing bad. What's this guy doing? What you doing? Hey, shit in the bucket. He's shitting in your bucket, man. Mom, call the police. Call the cops. Hey, break it up, asshole. Shit. Don't do it again. Mom!
Oh, God.
He's shitting in the bucket, Mom! Call the fucking cops! He's shitting in the man's bucket,
That
Mom!
face the guy made when he like sat down for the second time, I can relate to that face. I can relate. Yeah, just like have you ever gotten like an energy boost after taking a huge dump?
Every time.
It's weird, huh?
Every time. I'm a new man.
Yeah.
I feel like 86 pounds lighter. I'm good to go. I'm good.
Best is when you sit down. Best is when you sit down, you fart, and just like everything comes out. That's the best.
Where's the most inappropriate place you've taken a shit?
Oh, when I was younger, my grandmother used to live like right next to a park, but you had to jump the fence to get to the park, or else you had to walk all the way around the block. So I really had to shit like really bad, and I was a kid, like I never liked I was potty trained pretty quick, So I just went in the corner, I wiped my ass, and I wiped my ass with a leaf.
Way to brag about being potty trained
real
quick.
Humble brag. Humble brag.
So wait, so you're in the park, you gotta take a shit?
I went to the corner and I wiped my ass with a huge leaf.
All right, I got two. I was going out. I think I told this story in one of the interviews, but you weren't actually on that interview, Terry. That's one I did with Ben Cardilli, where essentially I was going out with this girl. We're both on the metro, going out to some restaurant or some bar or whatever, and my stomach's starting to grumble because I'm probably nervous, and it's the first time I go out with this girl. Probably hungover from the night before because I'm in my early 20s. Feel like sort of a grumble in my stomach. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna cut this one. It's gonna be silent. Metro's loud anyway. Oh shit! It all slipped. And so then what happens is I kind of like go all pale, all white, and this girl's looking at me like, "You okay?" I'm like, "Yeah." And like the doors open behind me, and then right before the doors close, I just sort of step off the metro and let the doors close in front of me. and I never heard from her again. This is pre-social media, so she couldn't track me down. Thank God. I
That's
felt really bad.
That's an unbelievable. I am clipping this and I will be posting.
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah.
Another thing that happens to a friend of mine, we're playing basketball in Montreal North, and like he had a rough summer. He had like shaved his head, and he got this terrible sunburn on the top of his head. He didn't know that when you shave your head, you need to put sunscreen on your bald head. And he got this insane sunburn where it caused him to like his head to puff up and blister. Like it was just a ball of pus. It was terrifying. And he all summer long had to wear like a hat, like a toque to cover up the grossness. And so we're playing basketball a week later after, having this happen to him. And all of a sudden, stomach starts grumbling. He runs over just to the side of the court and takes a giant shit in the grass. And like we're close enough to his house, we're so we're just gonna go to your place. Like, yeah. And so he went home and showered because it was gross.
So I've it's only happened to me one time where I shat my pants in my car. I just wiped my ass with my underwear and I threw it out.
Yeah, natural.
Yeah,
that's what you gotta do.
That's what you gotta do.
That's
and
what happened to me that time too.
And then
Speaking of shower,
the entire
that's
hand
probably
sanitizer
my
bottle.
weirdest place. I've shat in a shower when I was a child because I'm like, well, I'm in the bathroom and I gotta go and I'm taking a shower. 2 for 1.
Yeah,
I've done that. Oh, I've done that plenty of times.
You're both the world's best contraceptives. Like that's a reason not to have children.
Exactly.
Imagine having to clean that.
Wasn't me. And that's our show for this week, boys.
Just blame your brother.
Yeah.
What about the time where I wanted to play a prank on my brother and I pissed him in a shampoo bottle and my mom used it?
Oh, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, that's a good time too.
My brother pranked himself. I once saw him shaving his face with my balls razor. So.
That's amazing. Gotta love that. Oh, I've definitely used my brother's
drain at school once. Instead
I've
of using
definitely-
the urinals, I'm like the little thing in the middle. I'm like, it goes to the same place, right?
Oh yeah, I've done that too. I've definitely used my brother's.
Why would you do that?
Face razor on my balls, definitely. Well, I'm just not really caring. Yeah, so we're not really caring,
Yeah. For those of you who have not done so yet, please remember to subscribe, to follow us, to like, to comment, to rate, all those things. We love it. It's a way that we know that we're doing a good job. It's a way that we know that we're delivering content that you enjoy. So we're going to keep doing that as long as you keep throwing all that our way. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Terry, for everything you've done today. I want to throw a special thanks out to Carlan Gay, as well as Hot Streak Fantasy and Mike's Barbecue Rub for their patronage. Eagle, so nice to see you in person again.
I know.
I'm happy to be back. I'm really looking forward to this summer. This is going to be a great summer podcast. That said, thank you all for letting me be myself. You've been listening to Hot Sauce Sports.